Hideki Matsuyama, Monty's pick to win this week. Last three major starts, 2nd, 11th, 4th, accomplished at every level, won back-to-back Asia-Pacific Amateur Championships, 8 victories on the Japan Golf Tour, 4 on the PGA Tour, and he's 3-0 in playoffs. Well, you watch Matsuyama from close range, and if you ever get the chance, do it. What you notice is that he has the legs of a power lifter, and then there's the distinctive swing, the pause at the top, not a breath, but a full exhale, and then the pure strike. It's really impressive.
I think it's a matter of time for Hideki. I have no doubt that he'll win a major soon. I've been saying that for a couple years now, and I don't think anything will change going forward. He's shown us each year that he's capable of doing so, and he's played well at Augusta since he was, 18? So he's obviously likes that course, and the rest of them all change around. So he very much has a good chance, as good a chance as any at winning when he tees it up in a major.
I've thought for a long time he's one of the best players out here. So, we have a good time. He's an unbelievable player, good putter. So it'll be fun to watch him play. Anytime you play with Hideki, he's going to play well. So sometimes you can kind of feed off that, and hopefully it does this week.
His short game was unbelievable. I mean, I'd played around him and obviously a lot of tournaments with him, but until this year, getting paired with him some, and especially at Kapalua, I mean, it's just a short game keeps him in rounds, and that's why he doesn't make very many bogeys. And when you make as many birdies as he does, it adds up to a pretty good score.
You don't get to number 2 in the world without doing everything right. Probably the biggest thing is just he believes in himself. He's strong mentally. He can get through any situation. And I mean, you see how many times he hits bad shots and releases that club, and they still go to 15 feet. I mean, I got to figure out what he's doing, because I got to start doing that myself.
Well, Frank, you've known about Hideki Matsuyama going back to your days covering the Asia-Pacific Amateur. Won back-to-back, we mentioned, beginning in 2010. Just a matter of time, and it feels like the time may be right now.
It certainly is. Let's be honest. He's already Japan's greatest ever player. The numbers don't entirely say that. Jumbo supposedly has more than 100 wins, predominantly in Japan, but no one from Japan has ever been as successful in America as what Hideki already has. I saw Osei Aoki actually at Erin Hills, who was the last Japanese and the only Japanese player ever to be runner-up in the US Open, and he was ecstatic about what Hideki had already shown. And remember, he speaks the same language. And let's be honest here, if Hideki was born stateside or European or even my neck of the woods, we would be singing his praises. But in the world of golf right now, sadly, he's the mystery man. We don't know a lot about him. We don't hear him a lot in the media center, so therefore we don't talk a lot about him. But his game, Brandel, his game, I mean, that is more than enough. And if you're not listening to his game, then you're not watching golf.
Yeah, just listening to Adam Hadwin there, he's got a career as an analyst when he's through hitting golf balls, because he summed it up pretty accurately, saying you don't get to number 2 in the world without being proficient at every single part of the game. And as a matter of fact, in the all-around statistic on the PGA Tour, he leads that category. I see in him so many different players, but in many ways he reminds me of a Henrik Stenson. Pete Cowan said of Henrik Stenson that he's got 3 types of shots: good, very good, and excellent. Now, I don't speak Japanese, but I can certainly read his body language, Henrik Stenson, as well as this man here. And if he hits anything less than an excellent shot, and most of the time they're very good or good shots, he's only got one hand on the club. That's how much of a perfectionist he is. Shot after shot after shot. They're stunningly sharp. But again, just like Henrik Stenson, he has a bit of a weakness, gets a little wobbly on the greens. But if you're looking for a major championship where you can sort of have that weakness negated to some extent, you've got the perfect spot here at an Open Championship, because these greens are relatively flat, and as relates to other major championships, they're relatively slow. So you're looking at a man who has every single thing you would want in the game of golf. And not only is he a lot like Stenson, he reminds me too of a Ben Hogan. He has that sort of intensity. You can see it in his eyes. He's undeterred by all of the distractions around him, and that, more than anything, is I think, going to lead to his great success in the game.
And improving his putting, Frank?
He is. The interesting thing, there's like 2 Hideki Matsuyamas, which is unusual. Normally when you see a great player grip a club, I remember the days of Sevi, like his hands were born on the club, and every shot looks similar, whether it's a pitch or a bunker shot or a full-blooded driver. When you watch closely with Hideki and you look at his swing, there's a definitive pause, which you don't see in very many players. Bob Rosberg was one, Wayne Grady, who actually did very well in the Open Championship, is another, but that's actually what he's taken out of his putting. He's become a better putter over the last 12 months, trying to smooth the stroke up because it was better on quick greens. You don't want that jerky transition. But it is a question mark. I certainly don't question his talent or his performance. You just wonder whether there has to be two thoughts inside your head. In other words, pause on a full shot and no pause on a putting stroke.
And you're right, he's putted the best he's putted in the last year in the last 4 events that he's been out.
We've seen that rain, and it was fairly heavy, soaking rain. What do you think the impact might be on Royal Birkdale?
Not much. I actually talked to Colin Montgomery about that specifically. These golf courses drain so well. Frank has alluded to the fact that they top dress these golf courses so much that there's great percolation, and unless it rains all week long, this golf course was already very firm. So it may be just a tad softer tomorrow, but it'll firm up very quickly.
Just like watering your rose garden every now and again, right? If you want to make it sparkle, just sprinkle it a little bit.
All right, expected to get very windy with some rain on Friday. Temperatures in the mid-60s. It was kind of warm today, but sustained winds we're expecting up to 23, 24 miles per hour. It'll be a challenge. So Hideki Matsuyama, we talked about the great young Japanese player, best without a major at this point, but right there as well. Ricky Fowler. And as well, John Rahm. A lot of people love the Spaniard. Talk about those two and much more when we come back.